In the year 1221, the Mongol army arrived at the city of Merv, in what is now Turkmenistan. Merv was one of the largest cities in the world at the time. It had a population of between 200,000 and 500,000 people. It had libraries, universities, and mosques that had stood for centuries. It was one of the great centers of Islamic civilization. The Mongols offered the city a choice: surrender and be spared, resist and be destroyed. The city surrendered. The Mongols killed everyone anyway. Contemporary accounts describe the survivors being led out of the city in groups and executed over several days. One historian who visited the site shortly after recorded counting 1.3 million bodies. Modern historians consider that number an exaggeration, but agree the death toll was catastrophic. Merv never recovered. The city that had stood for thousands of years ceased to exist. This was not an isolated incident. This was Tuesday for the Mongol Empire. Genghis Khan is remembered today as one of the greatest military commanders in history. He built the largest contiguous land empire the world has ever seen. He connected East and West through trade routes that transformed the medieval world. He is celebrated in Mongolia as the founding father of a nation. What is discussed less often is that he did all of this by killing approximately 40 million people. That figure represents roughly 10% of the entire human population of Earth at the time. Some historians put it closer to 17%. To achieve a proportional death toll today, you would need to kill nearly 1 billion people. No event in human history has killed a higher percentage of the global population. Not the Black Death, not World War I, not World War II. Genghis Khan. Temujin, who would become Genghis Khan, was born around 1162 in the steppes of what is now Mongolia. His early life was defined by violence, betrayal, and survival. His father was poisoned by enemies when Temujin was 9 years old. His clan abandoned his family, leaving them to survive alone on the steppe. He was captured by a rival clan and wore a wooden collar as a slave before escaping. His wife Borte was kidnapped by a rival tribe, and he waged war to get her back. From these beginnings, he built something extraordinary. Through a combination of military genius, political ruthlessness, and an ability to inspire loyalty in people who had every reason to be his enemies, he united the fractious Mongol tribes under a single banner by 1206. That year, a great assembly declared him Genghis Khan, meaning universal ruler. He was approximately 44 years old. He had 20 years left to live, and he intended to use every one of them. The Mongol military machine that Genghis Khan built was unlike anything the medieval world had encountered. It was fast, disciplined, and psychologically sophisticated in ways that went far beyond simple military tactics. The Mongols used terror as a strategic weapon with deliberate precision. When a city surrendered without resistance, it was often spared, and its population absorbed into the Mongol administrative system. When a city resisted even briefly, the consequences were designed to be so catastrophic that the next city would hear about it and surrender immediately. The massacres were not simply the result of bloodlust. They were calculated communications sent to every city that lay ahead. The city of Zhongdu, modern-day Beijing, was the capital of the Jin dynasty in northern China and fell in 1215. Contemporary accounts describe the outskirts of the city being covered in human bones for miles. The city of Samarkand, one of the great jewels of Central Asia, with a population estimated at over 400,000, fell in 1220. The population was ordered out of the city. Those with skilled craftsmen, engineers, physicians, and scholars were taken as slaves. Those without were killed. Nishapur fell in 1221 after the death of a Mongol commander during the siege. The response was total. Every living thing in the city was killed, including the dogs and cats. The heads of the dead were separated from their bodies and piled into separate pyramids, one for men, one for women, one for children. Contemporary Persian historians recorded these events with a level of detail that leaves no doubt about the systematic nature of what occurred. The Mongol conquests did not just kill people. They destroyed the infrastructure of entire civilizations. The agricultural systems of Central Asia depended on complex networks of underground water channels called qanats that had been built and maintained over centuries. The Mongols destroyed them deliberately as a way of ensuring that populations could not re-establish themselves in the conquered territories. Regions that had been agriculturally productive for thousands of years became desert. Some have never recovered. The historian David Morgan estimated that the population of Iran did not return to its pre-Mongol level until the 20th century. 700 years to recover from one conquest. Genghis Khan himself died in 1227 during a campaign against the Tangut Kingdom in what is now northwestern China. The official cause of death, recorded in Mongol sources, was injuries sustained from falling from a horse. Other contemporary accounts suggest different causes. A Persian historian recorded that he was wounded by a Tangut arrow. A later account suggests he was killed by a captured Tangut queen, who concealed a weapon on her person during their wedding night and used it to wound him fatally. The truth of how Genghis Khan died has never been established. What happened after his death was equally extraordinary. His body was returned to Mongolia for burial. The burial party killed every person they encountered on the journey to prevent the location from being revealed. After the burial, the soldiers who had dug the grave were executed. A river was diverted over the burial site. Trees were planted to conceal it. The location of Genghis Khan's tomb is one of the great, unsolved mysteries of archaeology. Dozens of expeditions have searched for it. None have found it. He conquered more of the world than any other military commander in history. He killed more people as a proportion of global population than any other event before or since. And then he arranged to disappear so completely that nearly 800 years later, nobody can find where he is buried. Somewhere in the Mongolian steppe, the man who killed 40 million people is lying in an unmarked grave that has never been found. Maybe that is exactly what he wanted.